Hey there, Board Game Brody here with Let's Table It, where we get games to the table like Don't Skip Leg Day by Pandasaurus Games. This is a card set collection game with a twist, or rather with a focus. You don't want to skip or miss leg day. So there are different types of workouts which each score a different amount of points. You will be placing out a total of 14 cards, 7 for week 1 and 7 for week 2. And at the end, if you have 2 bench press cards, you will gain 5 points. If you have 3 overhead press cards, you will gain 10 points. The preacher curls depend on how many that you collect. If you are able to collect 5, you will gain 15 points, but if you only collect 1, then it's 1 point. Pull-ups each are listed with 1, 2, or 3 points when placing out those cards. Protein shakes will have the number listed on its card, and if that is 1, 2, or 3, but whoever has the most at the end gets 10 points, and the player with the second most gets 5 points. The selfie card gives you 1 point for each different background symbol on all of your cards at the end, so the more variety, then the more points. And lastly, leg day. These cards will award you 0 points. Nada. Zilch. Goose egg. No points. Absolutely nothing. So then everyone starts with a hand of 9 cards, and you will choose one to place on day 1 of your first week. This card is face up, representing Gem Day. Then you pass your hand of cards to the left, and you choose another card, and this card is placed face down, representing Home Day. You continue alternating face up and face down cards, and if you place down a leg day card face up at any point, this is worth -1 point penalty. And you can turn the card sideways to help you remember this penalty. After laying down 7 cards, the last 2 cards are discarded, and that's the end of week 1. 9 new cards are dealt out to each player, and again, players will continue placing cards down, this time starting the week with a face down card. After all players have played 14 total cards, players will reveal their face down cards, and this is the very most important part, which should form part of your strategy. The player with the lowest number of leg day cards is eliminated from the game, meaning they don't get to score anything. They are automatically out. They lose the game. Why? Well, because they forgot leg day. If there's a tie, then the player with the lowest amount of protein shakes is eliminated. The other players then add up their points from all of their cards, and the player with the most points wins the game. In case of a tie, the player with the most amount of leg day cards wins the game. And, well, that's Don't Skip Leg Day by Pandasaurus Games. It's a set collection type game that punishes the player who keeps on skipping leg day. I really do like the rule of eliminating that player who has the lowest amount of leg day cards, because it creates a push your luck type of mechanism where you definitely want those cards, but do you really, want to have all your face down cards leg day cards? Well, maybe, but you also don't really want to, because you want to score points. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to win, try not to have the lowest amount, but you're also trying not to have the highest amount of those cards, because you want to optimize your other cards with cards that will give you points. And you can figure out whatever is, out there to know if you can complete certain sets or do whatever you can do to get points. The game is best with more players. That way players know less of what type of cards are in each hand of cards as they go around. With 3 players, you will somewhat know if a hand of cards has a lot of leg day cards, or kind of know what other players are doing. But again, you can place these cards face up as well, getting the -1 penalty when doing so. But if other players are, taking them all, and you realize that you might be falling behind, it might be worth doing so so that you're not eliminated, because you don't want the lowest amount of them. It's a quick game. The mechanics work out as far as the cards, granting you points very well. You can try different combinations each time that you play. The sweet spot for our games, which also can be changed depending on the number of leg day cards that are in play in total, but it tended to be 4 or 5 of those cards. Again, you do want to push to try to optimize your points, but not so much that you end up forgetting about leg day. The game has, a funny theme with players laughing when, first reading the rule book. I had no problem with the art or the icons for the game. The cards might feel just a little bit thinner than usual, and they will, be taking some beating by being placed kind of in this shaker cup and being, pushed around like that. But it's ultimately a fun game. They did a good job with the marketing with it and putting it in a shaker cup like this. The kids have really enjoyed it. They've wanted to play it over and over again since we first played it, so that's always good. Again, this is Brody with Let's Table It, where we get games to the table. Don't skip leg day. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We are working hard to bring to you videos like this one so you know if these games are ones that you want to get to your own table.